Newspaper reading keeps you update, and newspaper reading is one of the best habits that an individual can have. Then, friends, today's newspaper of May 24, 2024. Let's start with the first news that the violence erupt in the Bengal over death of BJP supporter. Friend, we have seen that in the any election in Bengal, we we often hear that the news of post election violence are like very much punctual in their occurring, and it's signify that there is a need of a rule based order in the Bengal. If that is continuously going on happen, it raises question on the electoral process and demographic opinion of the people of Bengal. And as Bengal being one of the border state, it is necessary to make the electoral process more safe in the Bengal. There is a problem of migrations in the Bengal, and I want that you think about that how we can have minimize the post election violence, and how we can safeguard our Bengal as a state. Second news is about the Karnataka renews call to cancel Prajwal's passport. As we know that the case of MP of Hassan, a constituency in Karnataka of, and the grandson of former PM of India, H.D. Devagowda, the son H.D. Revanna has been involved in the sex exploitations of females, and due to allegations, he flew to the Germany on their diplomatic passport after the having the conclusion of election as conclusion of election from the very first day. Now the judiciary and the government of Karnataka are working to bring back him to the country and face the investigation, complete the investigation. Move on to the next. Friend, next news is from Kerala. Recently, there is a conflict of interest between the governor of Kerala and the Kerala government regarding the appointment and the holding of higher positions of universities and higher educations. Kerala governor trying to saffronize higher education. That is the allegations of Kerala government, Kerala Home Minister, Education Home Ministers, and this issue is continuously in news. And we being a reader have some interest on these kind of news as it is related to the education field, and we have being an aware citizens, our education system is should be so much robust that it can create good leaders, good engineers, and the future creators and future sportspersons from the education, or the as much as the intellectual people came out, the higher nation will grow as a nation, as a country, or as a society we develop. Move on to the next. Friend, in this editorial, one of the most important part of the Hindu, and absconding MP, the colossal failure of the system. In this article or in this editorial, Yaswardhan Azad is a chairman of Deep State, a former Central Information Commissioner, and a retired IPS officer who served as a Secretary Security and Special Directive Intelligence Bureau. He throw light that how the people who are on higher posts and enjoy a good amount of economic influence and power, how they surpass the system, or take advantage of loophole of system. I suggest you should have read this. It give you clarity. Although there are some technical terms, but by the some little bit efforts, you will manage to understand. And the language of this is very like laminar and simple, understandable. Move on to the next. Like powerful symbolic. The recognitions of Palestine by more nations is an indictment of Israel. It is very important article. I have no surprise if this article have come into the any examination, or apart from the examination point of view. In general, it is one of the most important news that is going on in international platforms. As we know that the Israel is having war with Palestine, and this issue is date back to their 1940s, or even associated with the World War II. But now the intense action of Israel against Palestine or Hamas, especially after October 7, is very much evident in front of all of us, and Israel has the mindset and full determination to complete annihilations of this problem of Palestine and Hamas. But friend, as in entire world, the world believe in the two-state solution. Like people recognize, UN also recognize the two-state country and as a way forward. What is the two-state solution? In which Palestine should be acknowledged, should be recognized as a country along with the Israel. As now Israel has control major area of Mediterranean Sea of the Palestine. As before the 1947, the what is the actual line should be considered as the border between both the countries, and this is the matter of past. But now, as Israel has direct control over the 80 to 90% of Palestine, and in that situation, countries from Europe are like in the race of recognizing Palestine. It is a challenging call for the Israel, and it is news in transitions. Many development came out. What will be the response of Israel? How Israel will interact with these company? For these countries, for the time being, Israel roll back the ambassador from these countries. Let me talk about what are which these three countries are. These three countries are Ireland, Norway, and Spain. This is a like setback for the Israeli defense forces, and the pressure on Israeli defense forces is continuously increasing by passing of every day. And here we should like, being in a country, we should learn from the what we can learn from Israel is that Israeli, a country of with millions of people, are so organizedly fighting with the rest of the world, or Muslim dominated like the neighboring country of Israel are very much following a selective religion, and they just putting pressure on Israel despite the Israel not taking pressure and ensuring victory. That much of confidence in their own capabilities and own strength is like a separate place for learning. And as being an Indian, we also have dominant and hostile neighbor. We should be self-dependent, and the self-dependency, Atmanirbharta, should be learned from the country like Israel. Move on to the next news is about snap poll. Rishi Sunak seems to be have sensed a window of opportunity for his party. In the term of Rishi Sunak, the UK emerged as an good economy. We see that the changing of PM in England or in the UK is very often. Liz Truss and the Boris Johnsons, these are the frequent changing of name. But by the arrival of Rishi Sunak, ensure not only the good economic condition of the country, but very well manage the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And apart from the COVID-19 pandemic, the Rishi Sunak are do well with the the domestic issues like the arrival of refugee and the management with the labor strike. So, with that opportunity, right now Ukraine issue have a deep impact on the politics of Britain, and Rishi Sunak want to take the advantage of that for their political mileage. On ground, he is facing some of challenges like from past few years their party in government and ruling the country, their own ground people are have some difference of opinion, but Rishi Sunak see a opportunity in that and release the date of elections. Let the elections result came out, then we have a good discussion over that. Friend, this article is about about the China's interest in Europe. A visit to preserve China's interest in Europe. We have seen that the China's initiative like BRI, Border Road Initiative, and the CPAC have a greater plan to make China as a superpower in field of economy, defense, and all. Recently, the number is coming out that the China's defense budget is more than that they just reveal, and they have higher number of aircraft carriers, submarines, and their ships. And apart from that, this is evident that they just control their supply chain, and they just have indirect control, and like some of its islands nation or some of small nation like Maldives. In keeping that strategy continue, China just uh, like easily penetrate in the Europe. Earlier, Europe is considered as an guardian US and protector as their US, but as US busy in the Ukraine-Russia war or Israel-Palestine war, China take advantage out of that and just giving some alternatives and some sort of lucrative offers to the country like France and like Hungary and some of other country of Europe. And in which field they are cooperating, like in the field of EV, China has complete dominance. In the field of their like weaponry, and in the field of their in making the critical infrastructure in Europe and in investment. Friend, from the perspective of India, is news that should be thoroughly keep focus on. And China, whatever China do, it's eventually impact the interest of India, because it is very much clear that China perceive India as a threat in the Asia, and as far as India emerge as a good and growing economy, China is not going to tolerate. And like China's policy of double hook policy and like slice and bird policy to slice and bird policy of expansionism is a case of concern for India. And we have been seeing the expansionism power of China in our border in the Ladakh or in Arunachal Pradesh. And like for countering that, India just taking a step to have increasing engagement with the similar mind countries and similar interest countries like Philippines. We are exporting BrahMos and defense hardware to the Philippines and the other countries as well. Friend, the question, it is an opinion. Should doctor be keep out of the Consumer Protection Act? Under the Consumer Protection Act, the right of consumers are reserved, and every actions have taken with the benefit to the consumers. In that, the the parties that involved in this writing this article are having the opinion that the doctor should be out of that. And why? Like, for they just give reason of economic benefit, that doctorship is a profession that require a lot of research and work. That's why they should out of this pressure of consumer protection act. And if anything happen, they just build a pressure on doctor. Is your is question on to you that like, whom should you honest, like in doctor, in a hospital, you should be accountable, you should be held accountable. Any doctor, if any mishappen, any undesirable thing happen, or you should be not, like doctor should be get out of the situation freely. Read it, you will like have some source of clarity and contemplate on that. Another news is about the number of Lok Sabha candidates that, as per their age, 11 candidate who is more than 80 has crossed their 80s, and the 537 candidate which are age of 20 to 30 age. That shows that the participations of youth are increasing in politics, and that is the one of the good news for us, because we have young mind, which young energy, which can easily express the concern of youth and in a better and effective way. So like, it's a good news. And as young people come forward, the demographic dividend of India is betterly and in a best way possible harnessing the politics, and thereafter in every field of country. Move on to the next. 6.8 lakh the mobile set that should be re-verified and re-identified by the government as keeping the check on the fraud of having SIM and their mobile handset on the fake ID. Now move on to the next. US aid of $275 million should be given to the Ukraine for their advancement of their artillery. As of now, the news is coming that the Russia has continuously advancing in the battlefield, and that impact the dynamics of Ukraine-Russia war. And next news is about Indigo airline profit double in 2024 March quarter. It's a good news that our airways doing well, and they provide better facility for us. Another news is about the Indian forces using Kuki and Myanmar groups to wage war. In Northeast, there are these several problems, and in which the rule-based order and peace, or the smooth functioning of government, is one that should be established. And in order to solve that problem, there should be the response of that much level and that much intensity. So there are some of facts and indications that Indian force using the Kuki and Myanmar groups to wage war. I don't completely believe in that, and that kind of news are somewhere for the allegations. In Northeast, the situation is very much challenging and out of our perceptions, and in upcoming days I bring more clarity on that topic. And move on to the next. Military Affairs Department seeks feedback from 3 service on Agnipath scheme. Friend, as we know that Agnipath scheme are a flagship program of our defense ministry under the modernization of defense and under the integration of defense services. In that scheme, the government is continuously touched with having the feedback of what kind of service it is and how it impacting the things, what better way we can do. Although there are some area where the government should pay attention, like the paying them a tribute of a soldier or a martyr, while if a soldier die on duty, and the pay and perks or their training modules. Although the initiative was to implement in order to seek to seek and to make everyone as an efficient and disciplined soldiers, and later on the who just released from the defense just be like utilized in the defense other technical sector of India, as the India is having deficiency of skilled labor force or skilled peoples. uh, to keeping that, the initiative is done, and is about the feedback that what they just government roll out the new things. Another news is about several Naxal skill in encounter in Chhattisgarh. As from friend, the Naxalism is a very crucial topic for internal security, and often the essays and the questions have been asked in the Naxalism, from the how it is start, from where it is start, and what is the current situations, and how we can deal more effectively with the this problem of Naxalism. Move on to the next. Rope in NDRF ITBP to manage Char Dham crowd, Center tell Uttarakhand. It's a very prestigious journey of pilgrimage for of having Char Dham Yatra, and there are some challenges. The government is working to manage their registration for Char Dham Yatra, and the arrangement and permutation combination, their well-being during the journey is the responsibility of government, and in that way the NDRF and ITBP are working hard to give their sense of security and satisfaction to the pilgrimage. Friend, Sensex Nifty hit all-time high on RBI Bolivia to center. Recently, the RBI had just given extra amount to the center for their work, and it is a constructive news. And as Sensex and Nifty hit all-time high, is so that the people has the confidence in the market and the economy of India, and just seeing that is a constructive news. If anyone have interest in share market or the trading, it's a better time to invest in Indian market. Textile sector needs cheaper input. CITI, like it's a sector that should be more focused, and more number of small scale workers are associated with the textile sector. And move on to the next. US investigations probing mass displacement in Myanmar. US on the name of human rights are working in Myanmar to probing the mass displacement. Move on to the another news. Norway to close border to Russian tourists from May 29 onward. This is the news. And again another news from Russia. Military deputy chief of staff jailed for graft. In Russia, as Russia is amid the war against the Ukraine, in that many countries just work to revolt against the Vladimir Putin, in which the leader of Prigozhin of a self-created army are one of them, and thereafter many internal leaders want raise voice against Vladimir, but as soon as some try to do so, just have got the behind the bar or just get the ticket of heaven. This is the policy of Vladimir Putin, that he is dealing in Russia, within the Russia, with heavy hand, and in that role he just deputy chief of staff jailed for graft. His name is Lieutenant General Vadim Samurai. Move on to the next news is about China hold drills around Taiwan. Woe, punishment for separatists. Friend, after every fortnight or month, what China do? they just showcase their bullying natures to the everyone, whether it is Philippine or the like India or any other country like Japan or the Taiwan. They just pass their vessels, their dockyard, their ships, and harass the other navy. In that they repeat this cycle with the Taiwan. Now Taiwan also retaliate in the same way, and they just step up their own defense forces to keep ready for the combat or any fight with the China. Another news is about IPL is going on, and like your favorite teams are working good. Last but not least, news of days from the science section: the chilling cover up of UK's contaminated blood scandal. Friend, yeah, read it. Very often question has been asked from this, and the we should learn that how UK manage their guilt and their mistakes. The injury uncovered cover of that was undertaken to save face and to save expense. The calamity was made more catastrophic by the defensiveness of government and its refusal over decades to hold a public inquiry. Between the decades in the question, at least 3,000 people died due to infected blood. The Hemophilia Society estimates 680 people have been died since the injury began. An infected person still die every 4 days in the UK per one estimate. People were failed repeatedly, patients' safety was ignored, decision making was slow. Autonomous and privacy were neglected, clinical freedom was abused, and lack of transparency and accountability amplifies the injustice to the victim. And in this was the matter that US, in fact, US in UK people are in like inject the contaminated blood, and that lead to the death. And for that matter, UK has just make an apology and just release some fund for the people who are impacted. I think that is not enough from the UK, and this point has been discussed in this article, that why is happen, how it happen, and how it impact, and what the people wants. That's from my side, friends. Jai Hind for today. See you tomorrow in the morning. That's from my side. Jai Hind.